a podcast on the Patriots Prayer Network, so put some respect on my name. Now, why don't we jump right into it? See, as a young single mother, I can tell y'all that rent is too damn high. I can tell you that as a young black voter, groceries are too damn high. And as an American citizen, period, seniors like my parents should never have to choose between medicine or food. It should never be the quality of life versus the quantity of life. And I don't want to hear, oh, but we capped the price of insulin and lowered the price of all these medicines. Yeah, but you raised the price of everything else, so it's about time to start telling the truth to Americans and let them know exactly what they're signing up for if they want to vote for Kamala Harris. We need to vote based on facts and not feelings. See, under Harris and Biden, the average Georgia household is losing $1,060 per month, and inflation is at 21.4%. And due to the war on energy, average gas prices have reached record highs for the state. We also did a poll, and 80% of us black Americans are not happy with the current state of the economy, so I'm going to need 80% of y'all to vote accordingly in November. They love me. They love me. They really love me.
Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on do our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. All right, we are live. We are live. And I'm coming. And I am coming at you with 5. Welcome, welcome, welcome to, there we go, another exciting edition of Random Topic Sundays here in the cosmos of social media on YouTube, X, and Rumble. Make sure, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not, that you go to the Rumble page and you can look up Random Topics with the with 3 exclamation points and subscribe there. You know, we try putting our channels on Rumble now. I'm doing that to fight censorship with YouTube, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute because as it relates to YouTube and so forth, what's going on, you know, I actually had the Honorable Judge Jill Brown come on the platform the other day. It was Thursday, and it's probably I've had the most views documented on that live on last Thursday. We had over close to 13,000. YouTube has been playing with the numbers because they had it at 12,199, but I saw 13,000 at least that actually paid attention and watched the channel on Thursday. We were talking about the Black Journalists Association, National Association of Black Journalists, and the Trump sit down that went viral. Also, what was going on with Kamala Harris and Judge Joe Brown's interview that he did with the Art of Dialogue on Kamala, or as he calls her, "Come Queen Harris, who has no judiciary functioning. She was a pissant of a damn prosecutor and a damn lowlife." That's quote Judge Joe Brown, or semi-quote. But we had over 13,000 views, and I don't know if y'all knew this, but my channel, actually, a lot of people complained after I did that video that the video was blocked. Nobody could see it. And what ended up happening was that I found out that they put a copyright strike on it. Luckily for me, I appealed it, and it was the Olympics that did it because I played a 10-second clip, even though we're commentating on the boxer man chick. Although they're saying she's not a man, she's a woman. She's been fighting in the women's division, the Algerian fighter. She had a 9-5 record previous to that against other women. But I think the issue from last year, she got disqualified from the other game, some other games. The IBA had some rules against her, especially rules. Apparently, she had too much testosterone. So I don't know what's going on with that. She says she's a woman and so forth. Who knows what the woke Olympics that we have? But they suspended me. They blocked my channel. I got it appealed and I won that. So you can all go see that video. But yeah, my live with Judge Joe Brown. Luckily, Dana wasn't on because I got some of her viewers and some new subscribers. But thank you. Thank you, Catalina. Yes. I've been on YouTube. I've officially been on YouTube since 2006. My videos, initially, I was promoting my book on Hurricane Katrina. That's how I started. I didn't do podcasting in the early stages or anything. I didn't start doing that until during the pandemic, which is in 2020. And that seems like it was a long time ago. And speaking of 2020, I had brought on a brother who was this independent filmmaker out of Houston, but he lived in California for some time. And he also is a director. He is not only a filmmaker, he's a producer, Hero Productions, and he's based out of Houston. And this brother, Rashad Humphrey, is coming back to the channel to give his take on Reflection and some other projects. And we are happy to have him as a guest. Let me bring him right now. How you doing, brother Rashad?
No see.
Oh yeah, man, it's been a while. Welcome back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
To be accurate, I still go back and forth between Houston and Los Angeles. So I do live out here, but I go back to LA. You know, I'm based in both places technically.
I was in LA last summer. I was doing a comedy. Festival at the Comedy Chateau. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I was there in June,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed it. Enjoyed LA. I don't enjoy them prices that y'all got.
Yeah. I imagine right now gas prices are probably outrageous.
Yeah, gas was never meant to be balanced in the checkbook, but apparently, you got to decide whether you want to walk or catch an Uber.
Yeah. What is it about $8 a gallon these days over in LA?
I saw when I was there last year, it was about a little more than that. But like I saw $9, I saw 10, but close enough. It's bad enough, but
it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, man. Well, but at any rate, my brother, welcome back, and you're going to talk about some projects that you are working on as well. We're going to ask you about that. And also, we're going to ask, of course, your thoughts about what's going on. The main thing with the presidential election. I was showing everybody this video that went viral from a Trump rally. Now, Judge Joe Brown made it apparently clear when I had him on our platform Thursday who he's voting for. He's strongly for Trump because he does not like Kamala Harris at all.
Mhm.
I know from my conversations with you, you're not a fan of either. But I do want to just play this video that's been going viral. I was showing a little bit of it, and fair use, by the way. This woman, don't know her, but her name is Michaela Montgomery, who I believe she even says that she was one of the chairpersons of Brexit. Now, for those that don't know what that means, Brexit is basically I want to say around 2016, 2020, that was a black conservative movement where they wanted to get black people to leave the Democratic Party. If you've heard of Brexit, what they did in Britain, they just put a knockoff on it. And Michaela Montgomery, her clip went viral because she went in on Kamala Harris, or as Judge Joe calls her, "Come Queen Harris," who don't have a damn clue about what's going on in the world. That hackling the humping hyena. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Hester. I appreciate it. We showed up with the algorithm. Yeah, YouTube has their algorithm really, they shadow ban. I don't know if you're familiar with YouTube, Brother
Yeah.
Humphrey, but
Yeah.
they shadow ban a lot of the black YouTubers, content creators, conservatives, even as well. If you say something against that goes against Google's agenda, if you say something that goes against the Democratic agenda, if you say anything that goes against the alphabet community
Yeah.
or something that looks like that, I had my channel labeled as hate speech as far back as 2020. You want to know why? I showed a video of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I simulcast his Savior's Day speech.
Hmm.
And I was labeled, and I got a community guideline strike on it. And ever since then, I've noticed they've been doing that stuff to me. We haven't had, it's hard to get 1,000 people.
Yeah.
I'm being real on to watch this channel. And last week we had 13,000 people watching Thursday. So I don't know. That was something that wasn't supposed to happen, which is probably why I got that copyright strike. No, we got to
Yeah.
get him on something. But the only way you can stop this stuff is if you're gonna have to go after these companies, man.
Yeah.
And that's bottom line. But I don't want. But yeah. But we're gonna play this video, and I'm gonna ask you, obviously, your thoughts. But first, before I do all of that, let me just say, now you went to Morehouse College, am I right?
Yes, for undergrad, I went to Morehouse. Yeah.
Okay. And what did you do for graduate school? Where did you go?
I actually my graduate education is actually in education. I was and actually still am a teacher.
Yeah.
I was a teacher for LAUSD for many years, and also I taught in HISD.
Okay.
So,
cool. And what made you want to go? And so, how did you get from teaching to the filmmaking aspect? What made you want to do filmmaking?
well, I started off in acting. I was doing that for years, and it was more of a progression. I got tired of having to wait for Hollywood to give me any sort of roles or anything like that.
Right.
And
Right.
and some of the things that I was being offered, I wasn't really crazy about it. I mean, they were offering me roles that went against a lot of
You
my
killed
principles.
it, my brother.
Yeah, that
You killed it, my
Hollywood
brother.
Shuffle. Yeah, absolutely.
Jerry
Yeah,
Curl. Yeah.
Hollywood Shuffle. So, and it's interesting because when I started, the industry was a lot different than what it is today. There was not as much content that as there is today. There's a lot more black people on television and film now than it was back then.
Well, we have more venue. We have more venues now. I would agree with
Yeah.
that. Because now, I mean, and I'm not complimenting them, but like BET,
Yeah.
With Tyler Perry, not complimenting him either, but he has an audience, and even YouTube now. I don't know if you're familiar with the brother, Big Ja. He has
Yeah.
Big Ja has a YouTube channel where he has a series called, and I laughed even at the name, The Lesbian Homie, which
Yeah.
I just saw for the first time, and I'm dying laughing at the stuff. It's actually great, and it's a surprise he's not been picked up on Netflix. But I say, no, don't stay on Netflix, man. Produce your own stuff and get all the money you can. so you can make your own thing.
Yeah. A lot of people are doing that today. I mean, that's that's sort of the goal, is that you should create things on your own, and then ultimately, if you want to work within the industry, you can actually do that because it gives you a lot more leverage. I mean, especially if you made a name for yourself. If you've made a name for yourself on social media and you have, let's say, 500,000 subscribers, and you're making a year, $100,000, $200,000 a year from doing your own thing on your own, that's negotiating power when you step into the realm with these executives. Why do I need you if I can do this on my own? What are you willing to offer me? And you can actually ask for a little bit more control. But the landscape is a lot different now. Like I said, when I first started, and there wasn't as many platforms. For the most part, there was still just terrestrial radio and just primetime regular television. And that was before streaming, really took off. And once streaming took off, it's been a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, it's a lot more work. And it's a situation that if you really want to become a filmmaker or you want to become an actor, you can probably do it and make a living out of it, but it's not the kind of money that it was when I first started. Like when I did a commercial for the Super Bowl back in the early 2000s.
Or you acted in it?
I was acting in that. And I made like close to $50,000 off of that commercial. Today, actors not going to get paid that kind of money doing spots like that. It's not going to happen.
50,000?
Yeah.
I'm in the wrong field.
I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, that was a long time. That was in the 90s.
No, it was in the 2000s, like 2003, 2004. Okay. I did a Verizon commercial.
Yeah, and around that time, like YouTube and stuff wasn't created at that point, so streaming and stuff wasn't going on. So I remember when there was no streaming. I remember a world where there was no internet.
Yeah,
there was an internet, but it wasn't available to the public. It was the intranet that they had. The government only had access to it, and they got a lot of stuff that's available to people. That's available, but they ain't releasing it yet.
Yeah.
They got to find a way to make money on it, just like the automated cars. That's coming soon. It's already here, but they got to make sure the laws are in act with it, and so forth. Pretty soon, we might even have we're gonna have invisible airplanes.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff happening, man. I mean,
we're gonna have
there's a company right now this company right now, drone company, where they're trying to fly people from one location to another in various cities. So
a drone,
well, it's not a small drone; it's a huge drone. A drone that's probably about 1,000 pounds or something like that. But it's taking like 5 or 6 people. It's more than 1,000 pounds, maybe about the size of a car. But it's taking various people from one location in the city to another location within the city. I don't think it's been regulated yet by the federal government. There's a company that's trying to get investors to invest in it so they can launch it and get the products up. But it's a very interesting concept, and I think it will reduce traffic having that kind of technology available to the public. I'm every single day I'm stuck up in traffic for an hour at least. People about to shoot each other and fight just to get from one location to another. It's kind of crazy, man, especially out here in Texas. During that hurricane, it was the worst. It was like Mad Max out there. People willing to stab each other for a gallon of gasoline. Almost got in a shootout in at the gas station. The guy and his wife was trying to fight me for that. It was crazy.
For gas, so. Yeah. Well, I mean, it is nuts, and that still wouldn't make me go electric, because electric, if you get caught in like a blizzard or frozen or any type of freezing weather, the car is gonna won't start up because of the batteries. But that's crazy. How did you make out with the hurricane in Houston? I've never asked you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, because I own an Airbnb out here actually in Houston,
Okay.
and I had to shut it down. Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad. Well, I did shut it down. I shut it down before the hurricane happened, and I'm glad that I did because if I didn't, it would have been a nightmare. My block in the street where I live was dark, and there was no electricity for about a week. You know, so there was that we had to deal with. I had went back to California, and then I went to San Antonio, and then I went to Austin, hanging out with my cousin. I was there for about a couple of days until I came back to Houston. But it was a very dire situation because I imagine people who don't have the resources that I got, what they had to deal with. Folks that were out there, that were homeless, or if they, didn't have a car, or any money, they couldn't leave town. I mean, it's pretty haunting situation to be in. First time I've ever actually ever been in a hurricane before. So there's something new to me. California have earthquakes. There's no hurricanes out there.
Well, I've been in a couple. Usually, and if it's a cat 3, cat 4, get out is what I tell everybody. If you can get out, get to safety, because in New Orleans, I mean, I know it floods in Houston, but New Orleans, it's a whole nother story with the sewage and water, especially. We have the sewage and water board, the pumps, not working correctly, things flooding. So we have to leave, like, at least, I try to leave at least 24 hours before that. Yeah. Because when Ida came, which was in 2021, we went to Dallas. So that was a long drive. We went to Dallas, Fort Worth. But yeah, man. So, and I've been in my fair share of what to do, what supplies you need. Because if you stay, power is going to be out for a while. Then, yeah. So I tell, and then but the thing is, a lot of people can't afford to even leave their home like that, which is a problem. And, I can talk about it later because we have a different subject. But when I did the book on Katrina, a lot of people don't notice they had a project called Hurricane Pam. The government did the year before Katrina happened, where they played out how bad it would be for the city if they didn't, all of these residents would be stranded without food and water, how they would have cars underwater, the number of deaths, where to evacuate the people, just how the evacuation process would go. And they could have prepared from that, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So, and it's a long story. I could tell you about it, but it's in my book too. Katrina, Eyes Have Not Seen, Ears Have Not Heard. So I got to plug that.
It's on Amazon?
It is on Amazon, as well as on Amazon Kindle. You can get The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby. It's on Dr. Cosby, The Destruction of Due Process in the United States. So I got to do that plug-in for my new listeners and subscribers too. But yeah, I wrote that book when I was, God, it seemed a long time ago. I was 20.
Okay.
22. Yeah, something like that. It was in 2008 when I released that. So yeah,
man. You're a young man, so you're writing a book. That's impressive.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. That takes discipline.
Never is. Writing a book, script is never easy. That's always it's a lot of labor.
Right.
Yeah. But, absolutely.
Yeah, I got another book I'm gonna work on too, and some other stuff I'm trying to get done. I'm working on some scripts, so I got to get with you. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely will get with this brother. But Rashad, let's get into it. I was playing this video, and Katilia, I just want to say, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I've had the judge on before, and I've gotten a big audience, but not this big. And by big for me, I've had over 250 views or something like that. I consider that big. But when you're talking about, you're in the level of, let's just say, Dana with the data or Tariq Nasheed, they get 250. They can get 100,000 people watching a video, or 200,000. I haven't had that yet, but that's because of this damn social media we have, which is why I tell people to go to Rumble and subscribe, because Rumble, even though it's conservative, there's a lot of rednecks on Rumble.
Yeah,
where they go to. but they're not on that censorship stuff like YouTube is.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just talk about what's going on. Obviously, I want to go back to this video here, brother. This is from, let me do the other screen. So this is from August 3rd. This was the rally. And you notice there, if you saw where this was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So this was right after Kamala Harris's Meg Thee Stallion rap concert.
Yeah.
Now, I'll have to play that in a little bit, but this is Michaela Montgomery, and they brought her out here to basically speak up for Trump and get the black vote. And you see a lot of black faces out there. So, hold on.
The left wants you to get in your feelings about things that have been said, but I want you guys to pay attention to what has been done. They don't want to talk policy. They just want to use propaganda to steal your vote. The left is trying to tout this woman as a savior for the black community, but all she's done is hurt the black community since she came into the game. See, the first step in destroying the black community is to dismantle the black family. So aside from her record as a prosecutor, why don't we ask Mrs. Willie Brown if Kamala Harris cares about black families? I wonder if Mrs. Willie Brown, a black woman, is also with her.
That was a new one. That was a low.
Yeah, actually, I saw this. I commented on this on my Facebook page as well.
Okay, I didn't see it. What did you think of it?
Well, I mean, when I saw it, it's you know, she's doing pretty much the same thing that the Democrats do, is just on the right. You know, it's pandering. You know, they're trying to get black people to join. You know, Trump's base. And what was interesting is that they're using a lot of verbiage of new black media. They're using a lot of verbiage of people that are who are B1. A lot of the same talking points, and that's one of the things that I've talked to people online. They oftentimes sit up and they try to say that you must be a Trump supporter because you're always criticizing Kamala Harris. No, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Trump supporter. Just because there are certain things that conservatives may say that we agree with doesn't mean that we have their support. The Republican Party is no more the friends of black people than the Democratic Party is.
Right.
The only difference, Malcolm X said it better than anyone else, is that one is the fox and the other one is the wolf. The fox is a lot more clever and a lot more devious with their attack as a wolf. They just let you know straight up what they are.
What I'm gonna do.
Yeah, what they gonna do? You know, more black people won't join the Republican Party because they're too damn racist. I mean, you know, of every person that I've met, black person I've met who have been a part of the Republican Party, some of the things they've told me in terms of just the outright blatant racism that they illustrate towards black people is I won't say it's unbelievable because they do it all the time when you talk about, you know, DeSantis and some of his rhetoric and how he's trying to ban history books or even here in Texas with Gavin Newsom and him offering
Newsom is in
partnering, you know, that man that killed, you know, those people at the Black Lives Matter rally.
Talking about Greg Abbott.
Yeah, Abbott. Yeah, I just said Abbott. You know, same kind of thing. You know, these people, or even what he's done. You know, with the way he handled this disaster, which a lot of people think there's elements that it might be along racial lines, because one of the things that's interesting to me is that how can you live in a state? Same thing with Louisiana, where you have these massive hurricanes, floods, this extreme weather, and you don't make the proper precautions to make sure that people are actually safe. Yeah. It's basically every man for themselves.
Well, you know, we had a Democratic governor during Katrina. That was Kathleen Blanco.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. You're right.
So Blanco. She was only a one-term man. She was also the one who did the shoot to kill thing with the looters and so forth. But Bush was the president at that time, and look, a lot of people didn't like George Bush. To me, was one of the worst presidents, probably the worst in my lifetime. And, I didn't like his thing with Katrina is what did it for me, but also the war in Iraq at 9/11, just the economy was busted. He was awful. But yeah, the thing is, whether it's Republican, whether it's Democrat, left wing, right wing, it's all on the same bird.
Absolutely.
Now, I prefer, and I think this is what Judge Joe's position is that he is of the position from a moral standpoint of promoting masculinity and defending womanhood. He doesn't like the position the Democrats have taken because he was actually a Democrat for many years. Oh, something happened to my screen. Okay. Yeah, he was actually a Democrat for many years and he became an independent because he didn't like a lot of the stuff like the policies the left is doing like today. And for real and truthfully speaking, they have ignored, they have been to me, I'm being real, just as worse as the Republicans just by what they're doing and just flat out ignoring us. Like Ice Cube wanted to meet with Trump and Biden. And Trump's team was the only one that met with him. Now, people argue with me, well, Ice Cube wasn't going to do nothing. They ain't going to listen to him. That's not the point. The point was that one person took the opportunity to at least talk to you. The other one said, wait till after the election, which tells me you don't care. You take me for granted. You don't value my time and my place. But, yes, either with this party, we're behind enemy lines and we're not going to get everything that we want, obviously, from anyone. But, I want to finish this video because she's pandering. But there was some stuff she was saying that was hitting home. Some stuff everybody we've been hearing for a while, but hold on.
A few days ago, President Trump said he didn't know Vice President Harris was a black woman. I'm trying to figure out what all the outrage is about because she's only black when it's time to get elected. Did I lie? The same black people who are mad at Trump for being confused about her race, ethnicity, nationality, whatever, are seemingly forgetting that while you're touting her as a savior for black people, she identifies as an Asian woman. She chose her side and it wasn't ours. When asked if she would ever do anything specifically for black people, she said no. Whereas Trump gave us the Platinum Plan, which specifically uplifted the black community by increasing capital by almost $500 billion, creating 500,000 new black businesses, and would give black churches the ability to fight for federal resources for their communities.
The Platinum Plan, well, he never got to even enact that if he wanted to because he wasn't elected president, because that came out in 2020. But she is correct. Kamala Harris herself, and you saw the interview, Rashad, on the grill, she said, when asked if she supported reparations, she said specifically, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something specifically to help black people, benefit black people. She said it herself.
Yeah, she said it with her chest. She said it with her chest. And I'll say this, if she's not black, that's the blackest I've ever heard her sound before in my life when she actually said that, which is kind of interesting. She basically made it very clear. I'm not doing nothing for you Negroes.
Right.
So what she is saying about Kamala Harris is absolutely correct. I can't disagree with anything, that that she's saying. The only difference I would say is that, and I always emphasize this to people, when we, those of us who are B1, we talk about it, we're talking about it from a position of justice, not from a position of opportunity, which is what you see from the Democratic Party typically. Because Trump is trying to divert the attention of a lot of the things that he's been convicted of and accused of during the last few years and throughout his career. So one of the things that, for myself, I'm just going to say this, and then we can talk about Kamala with Donald Trump, and I'll never let anyone live this down, is with the Central Park Five, about him putting a full page ad out to execute these black men. And then when it was discovered that they were indeed innocent, and they were exonerated for the crime that they were convicted of, and he was asked, would you have done anything differently? He doubled down and said, no, I wouldn't. So once the man, once he, he set up and he talked like that, and he said those things, in my mind, I'm saying to myself, well, whatever happens to you happens to you. You won't get my support. I can't sit up and rock with you on any kind of level, because you stood up for injustice and you had the time to say that you might have made a mistake. But that's not what Donald Trump does. I mean, when you're a white supremacist and you have this mentality that you can do no wrong and you can say whatever you want and people still want to follow you, you talk the way Donald Trump does. But Trump, I will give him credit in the fact that he does know how to call out some of the scams that the Democratic Party actually puts together, because he donated to all these people. He donated to the Clintons back in the day. I think he might have even donated to Kamala Harris's campaign.
Well, he actually, I'll tell you this much, because Judge Joe was talking about him and defending him. I even spoke with Randy Short about the Central Park Five. I will say, in fairness, and I'm talking about at the time the Central Park Five happened in the 80s, from what I've talked, and I was only 3 at that time, so I don't remember that, but they told me everybody thought those guys were guilty, even black people back then. Now, years later, when we have DNA evidence, the power of that, it exonerated them. The way that they were interrogated obviously was problematic. I also think they probably didn't have the best representation from lawyers at that time. But yeah, he doubled down and didn't apologize for it, which shows a sign you're an arrogant asshole. But I can say this, and Judge pointed this out. He said Trump Jesse was the one who was financing Jesse Jackson's, and I'm learning this, he financed his 2 runs for president. Mm-hmm. He did give some black business owners some loans. I don't know how true it was, but that's what he's told me. I mean, I've seen him, and I got to be fair with this too. Even back then, you see pictures with him hanging out with Al Sharpton and Don King, Jesse, pictures with Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson, and other black celebrities, some of whom are now coming and turning against him. Y'all weren't saying this stuff even back then when you had an opportunity. If you knew, because a leopard, old dog don't change. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And it's certainly, but certainly, I mean, like when I look at Al Sharpton calling Trump a racist, but wait, you got pictures of yourself with him in Trump Tower flying a helicopter. It's like, I can't take him seriously.
That I think speaks on the integrity of a lot of these prominent black people within our society, that many of them won't speak out against people like Donald Trump or the establishment, because they got to where they are because of them. Trump is a businessman, right. and Trump don't really fool with rank and file black folks. He deals with elite, black people. Sure. So when Mike Tyson sit up and he says that, he can't call Trump a racist, Trump, testify for him, I'm not going to necessarily hold that against Mike Tyson. I mean, that's his experience with the man. Right. And that's a fair experience to have. But at the same time, how can you defend a guy that gets up and calls the Klan very fine people?
Neo-Nazis,
when you originally when you literally have Richard Spencer and the alt-right, throwing blows with black people out over in Charlottesville, and someone gets killed, and he sits up and he says that the Klan is very fine people, and you still defend him, and proxy kind of defend that. So they're useless. Malcolm X taught us that years ago about these celebrities. They can't say anything. Many of them won't say anything. that's why they're propped up in a position that they are, because it's controlled opposition, and we shouldn't take any of them serious anyway, whether they represent the right or they represent the left. I mean, it's all the same thing.
Right.
It's all the same thing. But
with
what you said about Kamala Harris, I mean, those things are true. I've been telling people this for a very long time about Kamala. It's very interesting because I've had a lot of people, disproportionately Black women, but not just Black women, get up and they'll constantly say things like, you're being a racist, you're being sexist because you're saying these things about Kamala Harris. Why are you trying to tear down another Black person? And I had explained to them, it's not about myself or any of us trying to tear down another Black person. We saw the scam with Barack Obama and an individual like this who was obviously a Trojan horse, someone that they prop up who looks like us. But then when you start examining their paperwork, but then when you start looking at their lineage and then also their deeds, that's the thing that we have to pay attention to, because I don't know for me personally, I'm not going to say whether Kamala Harris is Black or she's not Black. I really don't know for sure. The research I've done, she could be, but then maybe not, because her father, looks like a Black man, but the man, as Judge Joe Brown, he has said, I've heard others say this, that he claims to be South Indian and Irish. Now, whether that's true, I don't know.
If you look at the birth certificate, her birth certificate, her mother is listed as Caucasian.
Yeah.
Her mother's from India. My understanding is that in India, she would be a Hindu Brahmin, which is like the higher caste system in India. At that time, and if you listen to Jason Black's broadcast, there was a brother who was commenting on this about because he had his documents from the Wall Street Journal from 2020 on Kamala Harris, where they talked about her background. And yes, she is always, from what I've seen, CNN even did a video on it. They've always promoted her from the standpoint of being a Asian woman.
Yeah.
Now, yes, her father is Jamaican, and a lot of people say, well, if you're Jamaican, that automatically classifies you as, well, that's Black. I had people in a barbershop arguing with that. No. And by that, I mean, it's not true. No. Yes, there are Black. Yes, there are people of dark, a dark hue, dark melanated in Jamaica. Of course, Black people, people darker than me. But culturally, where here in the United States, where we have grown up, is different.
Yeah.
The experiences in Jamaica. Everybody thinks, well, the diaspora is the same for everyone. No. Our experiences are quite similar. Yes, we have similar experiences, but not the same. Yeah. And yes, Kamala Harris, then the other point they like to bring up is the fact, well, she went to a HBCU. Well, if you look at this article, especially among HBCUs, there are quite a few more whites actually at some of these schools than there are Blacks. Give you an example here. By that, there's one HBCU out, I believe, and hold on, let me just. I'm going to give you one example for me personally. I went to Southern University Law Center. I went to Southern University undergrad. Now, yes, Southern University is mostly is predominantly Black. However, the Law Center is also predominantly Black, but they have about 45% or more whites at that Law Center. Reason being, Southern University Law Center has a much more affordable tuition than an LSU. LSU, you're going to be paying let's just end up paying, when you get out of school, you're talking about paying $115,000 a year. I'm just giving you a ballpark figure, versus Southern, where the tuition may cost you $80,000 or $75,000. Right. Would I rather, even though I may be a white person who doesn't like hanging around Black people, and they had one white boy who I want to beat the fuck out of, who was getting who was being an asshole to me. And I could tell he didn't like Black people and didn't like being around there, but he went to the school because he probably he couldn't get in Loyola. He couldn't get in LSU. They do that.
And that's a very good point that you make right there.
Right.
Because
the fraternities as well. They have whites.
Yeah.
They have white omegas and alphas.
Yeah.
Hubert Humphrey,
Yeah.
who was the vice president under Lyndon Johnson, was an alpha.
Yeah, and that right there is a very interesting point that you make, because that's one of the things I highlighted to a lot of people, is that I think that Kamala Harris might be doing the same thing that Rachel Dolezal and possibly Sean King was doing over at Morehouse. Now, for disclaimer, I do know Sean, or I knew him, because he was a classmate of mine when I was at Morehouse. We do know each other, and this might get back to him. To be fair, I don't know whether Sean is black or not. And when the story broke, because him and I were sort of friends, I did stand up for him. In fact, when people were saying that he wasn't really black. But I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not really sure whether he's black or not at this point. I'm not really sure, because seeing just this pattern where you have him, Dolezal, Kamala Harris, and I knew other people that went to HBCUs that did similar things, where they really had these questionable backgrounds with African Americans, but they went to the school because they may have gotten a scholarship or because the tuition was cheaper, and they're basically using our experience as a come up for themselves. And I do think that's possibly what Kamala Harris, is doing. We've seen this before. Yeah. That's why this whole conversation, I think, about whether or not this person is actually black or not is a relevant conversation, because if that's what is happening, and you have individuals that are taking benefits away from Black Americans who can use those same resources, that is a very big problem.
It's like that's what the movie Soul Man was about.
Exactly.
The white boy wanted to be black, and he was trying to use affirmative action so he could get a scholarship. Affirmative action. And look, I could say this about Trump too, and I have to be fair, that he did not actually target negatively black people like talking about it. I have to be fair. He didn't pass, by that I mean policy. Somebody was arguing with me, well, how are you going to say that? Because he appointed all these white judges. That hurts us. I said, Obama didn't appoint any black men to the Supreme Court. He didn't nominate a black man to offset Clarence Thomas.
He
put lesbians in there.
Yeah.
He put Kagan and Sotomayor.
Yeah, Sotomayor. That's all I was thinking.
Right.
Of. Yeah.
There could have been black judges that he could have appointed. The first black female Supreme Court justice that we have, Ketanji Brown Jackson, she doesn't even know what a woman is.
She said that.
I wish she should have said. She just should have said adult female like me, and kept it moving.
Yeah.
I know where you're trying to go, and I would have rather said, look, I know what y'all trying to go, and with me asking this, but that's the thing. These judges put agendas up there, and I'm seeing more of stuff that's intruding. I'm being careful with my words, intruding on our community. People taking our struggle and using it as their own, and getting the benefits from it. The stuff with the illegal immigration that's going on, that's going to be a big deciding factor, I think, with the election. With people, at least. I mean, if you look what happened in Chicago, they're upset with Brandon Johnson. They have buyer's remorse with him.
Yeah.
They're tired of that. We have homeless veterans that could use some of these resources, could actually go into some of these shelters, and could use money. We have families that barely can afford paying their electric bills, and you're giving illegal aliens, upwards. I've seen reports like $4,000, $5,000 a month. That
is completely unacceptable. I agree. I don't think that open borders or providing special treatment to people that are coming here illegally is good for any nation. It's not good for any nation. you know, and you know, I've talked to people about this because growing up in Los Angeles, growing up in LA, I grew up and I went to a school that was predominantly Latino, you know, and even some of my Latino friends, that's one of the things that we talk about now. We have a disagreement about that. And they ask me, do you support illegal immigration? I tell them, absolutely not. I can't, especially considering, and I'm not suggesting that all Latinos are illegal, because that's not true. But
No,
considering,
it's not.
but considering, you
What
know,
they're doing in these countries in South America,
the landscape of what's happened in the last 30 years within Los Angeles, and a lot of things that Black Los Angelinos suspected was going on, we found out were true. When you had Nori Martinez, she got caught in that meeting,
right? Making racial slurs,
and you know, calling the gay councilman's son a changalito, you know, and which means little monkey in Spanish, you know, and they're talking about undermining Black people.
Yeah,
and there's been lawsuits within Los Angeles for years, you know, with Latinos in the workplace doing things like that. Roscoe Chicken and Waffles was paid was filed a lawsuit against because one of their cooks was complaining about all the hostility and racism he was dealing with from Latinos that were in charge of operating the location that was on Pico and in West LA. You know, sad thing, you know, I would have to say as well, because Roscoe technically is a Black-owned business, but the owner, he put Hispanics in charge of one particular location. And still there? What happened?
Yeah, we still here.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they put them in charge of one, you know, in one particular location, and these people went ahead and pushed out all the Black employees, just hired all their own people, you know. But these are things that Black folks in Los Angeles have been complaining about, you know, for decades. You know, the racialized gang violence. You know, you had there was a kid that was killed a couple of months ago over in Gardena by members of La MA, the Mexican Mafia, and then back in the early 2000s, they were doing racialized killings all over the city of Los Angeles. So, you know, there definitely is, you know, some issues when it comes, you know, to immigration. And I don't necessarily think that Black people supporting illegal immigration particularly is a good thing for us or for the country in general. I don't think it is.
Yeah, I agree. Let me just finish playing the rest of this video. Then I got another one.
I was talking to him. I'm sorry, man. I was monologuing a little bit.
And why are we acting like strong borders aren't a thing literally everywhere else in the world? Since when has being patriotic been a crime? See, a few weeks ago at the debate, Trump mentioned Black jobs, and a lot of people got in an uproar as if they didn't know what he meant. Well, we go to the polls and cast our Black vote. We go to the stores and spend our Black dollar. We live in our Black community, but for whatever reason, we draw the line at a Black job. Oh, but wait, because if you're wondering what a Black job is, please, I encourage you all to drive through Atlanta at all these beautiful Black-owned businesses and check and see who works there. Probably a Black person working for a Black entrepreneur, recycling the Black dollar, creating Black generational wealth. If they come here illegally and they're taking your jobs and your resources, then please believe my cousins in the Appalachians, they coming for you too. And y'all know Kamala Harris has yet to say Laken Riley's name. As borders are, she opened the border to millions of illegal immigrants that have flooded American streets with deadly drugs and gangs that have spiked overdoses by over 124% and brought more crime into minority communities. So how's that for Black folks? But let's take race out of it. Just as a woman, period. How can you be a champion for women's rights when you're taking away opportunities from biological women and giving them to transgendered ones? I wasn't done. See, how can you promote equity for women and you're allowing men to play on women's sports? And what kind of feminist would still allow men to enter their sacred spaces, i.e. our bathrooms and school locker rooms? Do I even need to mention the opening ceremony at the Olympics?
There very well could be actors in there, yeah.
Or the fact that
that.
Angela Carini was forced to fight a man and told us that she's never been punched so hard in her life. We cannot allow dangerous liberals who think things like this are okay into the White House, because my daughter will not be fighting a man at her wrestling match.
And she goes snakehead sister girl with that.
Yeah. I watched this yesterday. Yeah, I saw it.
All right. I'm not going to play all of it, but I will say I do agree with regards to the women, the transgender thing. I understand that completely because I have a cousin of mine out in Boston who has told my father, they were having a conversation. They are required by law, if a child, and I'm not just talking about transgendered, if they even consider themselves, this is real, I'm not joking, a dog. If they believe they're a dog or whatever, they have to lay out a pad for them to lay on if they want to use the restroom. I'm not lying. I've saw this myself. I can't believe this.
Wow. Yeah. You know, with that, I think in sports they need that transgender people need their own category for competition.
Yeah.
I think that would be the appropriate measure to take, is that they need their own category, because it's not fair for someone who is a biological man fighting against a woman. You know, I wouldn't want my daughter or or anyone else have to deal with that. So it's not fair. It's not fair at all. I do understand. What the lady's saying in that particular video where she mentions that. But my question is this: what is her take when it comes to police reform? Because Trump has, because Trump has talked about he's giving cops immunity, which pretty much that's something that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have done their entire careers, which I've been telling people. I mean, when Kamala Harris ran for district attorney, she ran on the platform of giving cops immunity. That's how she was able to beat her opponent. So it's how she feel about that?
Right. Well, you know what? I didn't play the whole video, but I don't think from what I gathered, I don't think that even was brought up. About it. Now, in fairness, I didn't see the video, and I'll listen to the rest of it later. But no, I didn't see that. So that's important. But we know that we know that where the conservatives lie with stuff like that, with police reform. Obviously, he's not going to say he wants police reform because his base, most police officers are Republican.
Yeah.
They vote like that. Just like a lot of Latinos are Republican as well.
Yeah.
They're gonna vote. They vote that way. Look at Florida.
Or here in Texas.
Yeah. Texas always goes red. I think that's pro gun. That's the gun state too.
Yeah.
Louisiana is too. Man, our governor, Jeff Landry, who was the former AG, he hasn't been in office for 8 months, and he's already had bills passed for him. He's already done stuff that he was going to go for. He said he was going to do with the criminal justice reform that John Bell Edwards had. He reversed a lot of that stuff. Prisoners now have to serve their full time. They're going to, instead of coming out 75% with stuff, you're going to have to do that 85.
Wow.
Yeah, for crimes.
Yeah, Louisiana, from my understanding, I I've only been to Louisiana a couple of times because I do have family in New Orleans. But I'm not, because my grandmother was from New Orleans. My mom's mother was from New Orleans, and then she moved to Chicago when she was a kid. But I know that New Orleans is in Louisiana is a state that likes to lock up a lot of people. Algiers prison is notorious.
The law, right? Angola, you're talking about?
Angola, excuse me, Angola.
It's like the largest prison in the
Angola prison.
Prison capital, right?
Yeah.
It's basically a big farm.
Yeah. Because wasn't there like a scandal that happened there a couple of years ago where you had a bunch of prisoners that were killed or something like that?
I'm not aware of that one.
Or they said the conditions there were so unlivable.
That's what it was.
They were being they were being investigated by the federal government because the conditions there were so unlivable that it was considered cruel and unusual punishment to have people living there.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Louisiana's not a place where we get locked up.
No, we are. I don't know about that part, but we are the largest. Yeah, that's true. But it's the largest prison in the world, largest maximum security prison. And I'm even looking at here. They reported that Angola prisoners are part of a hidden workforce linked to hundreds of popular food brands. So, so you can even see this article here, courtesy of WAFB. It says it right there. But your relationship, and you've talked about Kamala Harris before. I want to get to that. You were living in California at the time Kamala Harris was vice president. I mean, not vice president, was attorney general.
Yeah.
You said you've been back and forth. And she was the district attorney out in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But you weren't living in San Francisco at that time. But when she was AG, let me just ask you, what was the vibe when she ran for office as AG?
Well,
you recall, that would have been around 2000, 2008, 2000.
Well, it's very interesting because California, just like Louisiana, is a state that people get locked up very easily. Mm-hmm. They get locked up very, very easily. Not to make a joke about it because it's not a joke when we're talking about this, the prison industrial complex. The LA County Jail, for example, was so crowded at the point that they were letting nonviolent criminals out because they couldn't hold enough people. You had situations where you had people that were on trial waiting to finish their sentences, and they're waiting for trial for years. My father, as a matter of fact, he was locked up in there, and he was waiting for his trial for about 6 months, and once he got his sentence, he was in LA County Jail for 3 years, which technically is a holding cell. He's supposed to be there.
Kamala wasn't AG at the time, was she?
No, she was.
Oh, she was?
Yeah, she was when this happened. Okay. And I know that there was one big particular scandal that happened with her, with a man by the name of Steve Mnuchin in One West Bank.
Right.
This is after the crash that happened over in 2008. And Steve Mnuchin was and One West Bank was being investigated by the feds, and it was they saw that they had defrauded millions of people out of their homes, and they had stole over $150 million in real estate, and they actually recommended to Kamala Harris and the Attorney General's office to investigate Steve Mnuchin and prosecute him. And Kamala refused to do it. And then afterwards, Steve Mnuchin had donated, depending on what report you read, I've seen some reports where it said $2,000. There are other reports where it was as much as $15,000 to her campaign, and all the charges went away. Steve Mnuchin, of course, went ahead to work on the Trump administration.
Right, and that's Steve
And
Mnuchin in that
yeah,
picture there. He was
yeah,
actually called the Foreclosure King.
yeah.
That was his
And,
nickname.
and here's and the only reason why I knew about this guy is because my feature film, 400 Will Kill You, the protagonist, the main character, I loosely based off of this guy. I loosely based off of Steve Mnuchin because I read what One West Bank was being charged with, how they had foreclosed on all these people's houses and disproportionately were Black and Hispanic, and the federal government was trying to prosecute him, but
Right.
Kamala Harris wouldn't do it. And he gave her money for her campaign, for her campaign, and the charges, went away. So that's one thing that a lot of folks hold her feet to the fire about is that why didn't you prosecute Steve Mnuchin? You had an opportunity to actually go after someone that was known, or at least suspected of victimizing the Black community, and you sat on your hands and did nothing about it.
Right. And this is an article I shared with everybody. It's from populardemocracy.org, where they said the former California Attorney General Kamala Harris on Wednesday vaguely acknowledged the Intercept's report about her declining to prosecute Stephen Mnuchin's One West Bank for foreclosure violations in 2013, but offer no explanation. She said in response to questions from the Hill, "It's a decision my office made. We went and we followed the facts and the evidence, and it's a decision my office made. We pursued it just like any other case. We go and we take a case wherever the facts lead us." Mnuchin is Donald Trump's nominee to run the Treasury Department, and he served as CEO of One West from 2009 to 2015. An internal memo was published on Tuesday by The Intercept, where prosecutors at the AG's office in California said they found over 1,000 violations of foreclosure laws by his bank during the time, and predicted that further investigation would uncover many more thousands more. But the investigation into what the memo called widespread misconduct, was closed after Harris's office declined to file a civil enforcement action against the bank. You can all go read this in here. So what it means is basically as the AG, if she had evidence that Steve Mnuchin violated foreclosure laws in the state, as the state's chief prosecutor, she had a duty to pursue justice. She could have gone after them, but declined to. And what is alleged is that she received, what you're telling me is that she received campaign money from him. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yeah. That was after she dropped the charges. He had donated, and it depends on what report you read. I've seen some reports where it said it was as little as $2,000. The most I've seen was $15,000. But basically, a lot of people think that Steve Mnuchin paid her off. That's what a lot of people think.
Well, 2,000 is not 2,000.
It's not a lot of money.
Big. No,
it's not a lot of money. But he did donate to her campaign. That is definitely that definitely is true. He did donate to her campaign after the charges were dropped.
Well, I do know this much. It's not a lot. I know that when I was doing my research in the Bill Cosby case, what happened to him in 2018, as I was doing my research, if you read my book, I found out that there was someone who worked for Comcast, NBC, that donated money to the district attorney who promised to lock up Bill Cosby, Kevin Steele. Now, it was somewhere on about $250, which wasn't a lot of money, but when you factor in the aspect, I guess, that Bill Cosby tried to buy NBC in the early 90s, and he tried again in the 2000s, I started to wonder, could that have been tied into it? But yeah, a lot of people think that, but no, we don't know. But yeah, that I'll just say this much: she left a lot to be desired.
Yeah, it looked suspect.
Like you could have, if she should have. If she at least tried to get an injunction against them or brought charges of some sort, could that have saved people from their homes, from losing their homes? It's possible.
Or how about,
or
just
at least
getting people,
they probably wouldn't have gotten their homes back, but would have gotten some type of justice or semblance if he had gotten prosecuted for
and
what he
that's my
did.
point. If you're supposed to be the attorney general,
Right.
You're the top cop of the state, and you're supposed to be this advocate for Black people that you claim to be. Why is it when you had an opportunity to go after someone that's been suspected of harming us, you didn't do anything about it? And that's the point that I tell people all the time when it comes to the issue with Steve Mnuchin and One West Bank. When it comes to Kamala Harris, I mean that was that's definitely dropping the ball as far as I'm concerned, because I think with a lot of people in California, they don't have a problem with her being a prosecutor, but it's a lot of the selective prosecution that's an issue. It's her doing things when she ran, for as a prosecutor within California. She ran on a platform that was very pro cop. She made sure that she told the police, "I'm not going to prosecute you the way that," and I can't remember his name, the guy she was running against. I can't remember his name. "I'm not going to prosecute you the way the previous prosecutor prosecuted you guys," because he had prosecuted them over getting into a brawl at a Mexican restaurant over fajitas, believe it or not. And my understanding now, he didn't just prosecute them, but he also prosecuted their superior officers, I guess, for protecting them. So he made it very clear that I'm going after cops that who think they're above the law. But Kamala made it very clear that I'm not going to prosecute you. I'm going to work with you. I'm pro cop, and that was a big deal in terms of what her campaign message was when she ran for district attorney within the city of San Francisco, as well as a lot of the other things that she advocated, like her truancy policy, and the controversy where you had one woman that whose child, I think she was mentally disabled. The kid couldn't walk, and the kid had mental problems as well. And Kamala, threw them in jail and had the cops come there and arrest them because the kid wouldn't go to school for months at a time. And they interviewed her, and they found out that this child, couldn't go to school. It's quite an embarrassment in terms of how she handled that. But and then, of course, one of the biggest debacles in California with her was extending the prison sentences of low-level offenders to go fight fires, which is what she did. Now, a lot of people try to say that, well, her record is exaggerated. They try to exaggerate how much damage she did and blah blah blah. But I tell people all the time, no, the information is there in terms of what Kamala Harris has done. I think now they're trying to rewrite her history. I've noticed online they've tried to scrub a lot of old articles and old information of anything linking to her that covers and talks about a lot of these things, But I mean, the information is definitely there, Her record is not good, among other things that she's done, towards Black folks within California. So,
Yeah. I also want to point out Uncle Luke from Two Live Crew actually
defending
did a
her
video. Huh?
Is he defending her? I'm sure that he is.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
He was defending her about people, particularly when Trump made the remark about her blackness, and he's done a video, a sit-down interview. I don't think they're gonna get me on a copyright strike if I play some of it, but they go to these rappers. They go to these rappers like Meg Thee Stallion, and look, yes, the Republicans have done it as well. With Amber Rose, she's not a rapper, but even Amber
Personality.
Rose, and people question her about her blackness, and because she identifies as biracial, not as a black woman, but she's claimed black and white. And they had Kid Rock, they had Hulk Hogan, but here was the thing: Meg Thee Stallion was the one that was twerking on the stage, hotties for Kamala, versus Amber Rose. Amber Rose didn't do any twerking. I'll just say that much. But yeah, Amber Rose doesn't serve a purpose to me either. But I'm not a fan of hers. But yeah. Uncle Luke was not happy, and he did a sit down with Kamala and Vice President Harris, and Queen Ahmadiyya Shakur. She actually did a breakdown on her channel about with Kamala Harris, because they showed in the interview, I think Kamala stated that she was in a supposedly, the way, I'm gonna just let her do the talking. Let me see if I can find it. Actually, the video is from and she'll let me play it. I don't think she's gonna claim a copyright strike on it, but yeah, Queen Shakur. Now it is just a clip, so I gotta acknowledge it may be chopped up. So in fairness, but shout out to Queen Shakur for to her. I haven't spoken to her in a little while, but I don't think she's gonna oppose me if I actually put this in. So hold on, let me just see if I could play.
Thank you in advance.
What 4 words would immediately let you know about who I am? It's not in the vocabulary.
Is that when people question your blackness, you were on that bus, you were part of the civil rights movement, but the struggle is convincing that this is a strong black woman who lives a strong black life. And why is there any question?
You're right. It's frustrating. There was this one journalist who said to me, I'm doing this interview, and he said, well, you have family members that went to Stanford and Harvard, but you chose to go to Howard. You know, elite schools like Stanford, but you chose to go to Howard. And I was ready to hang this thing up.
Right.
I was about to.
Oh, Lord.
Right there. Let me just pause it right there. Now, you already heard the lie if you were listening. He said that she was on the bus right there during the civil rights movement. And if you were born in 1964, I'm sorry, what? Let's look this up to be sure. What year was Kabami born? Because I have a whole lot of questions.
Kamala Harris was born in 64, so she's 60 years old,
Lord.
59. So the civil rights movement, and I'll do this part, civil rights movement ended about 65, 66, because then the Black Power movement started. So she was a baby. Now, she would have been, of course, there is this thing called,
oh, God.
She was and claimed to have been dealt with school bus segregation.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Let's not forget she went at she was part of the desegregation busing. And let's not forget she went at Joe Biden at the presidential debate in 2019, 2020 about that. Remember?
I do remember. And a lot of people believe it's true because it's on Wikipedia. So it must be true because it's on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
She did come at Joe Biden over it.
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember she said that. I was one of those girls that you buzzed in segregation, because on our Wikipedia page, it says that she went to a school that they were trying to desegregate in Berkeley, is what she said. You know, I mean, that's what it says on the Wikipedia page. But you and I both know, I mean, there's people, I'm not going to name any names, I know that are prominent and they have things written on their Wikipedia page that I know for a fact are not true. So you can't go by Wikipedia necessarily when it comes to somebody's biography. People can make up what they want to make up, and you just have to believe it at face value. That's what they're, writing on there, But yeah, Kamala, she's a very curious case. She says a lot of odd and goofy things, like I said, like even with her father, I'm not sure whether the man's black or not. I'm not really sure. Not really sure. It's interesting. She's talking to Luther Campbell because he's actually Bahamian. And
you sure she didn't say her mother dated a Black Panther instead of saying she was?
I'm not surprised, man. I mean, Kamala, like I said before, I think the people, the reason why a lot of black folks have a problem with this whole issue about whether she's black or not, it's not that we care. It's we don't want individuals using our experience as a come up for themselves. And while they're, sitting up there lying about who they truly are, because there's nothing that Kamala Harris couldn't have accomplished as an Indian woman who just went to Howard. You know what I mean? And she happens to have quote unquote respect for black people, but all the sister gore crap and when they find out that you're not really who you say that you are, your blackness is questionable because we're not sure whether or not your dad's actually a black man or not. He doesn't acknowledge, being one, and to be fair, it might be a thing like how you have with some Afro-Latinos where he may be denying that he's black. He may be in denial that he actually is a black man. I mean, I've seen cats from the Caribbean talk like that. You know what I mean? I've seen cats from Latin America talk like that. Dudes who are Dominicans will sit up and say that they're not black and they're darker than you and me. So that might be, that might be a possibility. But the issue is that if a man tells you that he's not a black man, I'm an Indian and I'm white, you have to take him for what he says he is, at face value. If he's not acknowledging that he's actually black, and I think that's what a lot of people have a problem with, and particularly with her, growing up the way that she did, because my understanding when she ran for public office for the first time, she wasn't actually saying that she was black. She was saying that she was Indian. Mm-hmm. Isn't that correct? Back in 2003.
I don't remember that was 2003, but I do remember. Somewhere. Well, I wasn't around. Well, she was running in local offices there, so I don't think that made the news. But I do remember, and I do know, especially in 2012 when she became a senator, they were talking about her being the first South Asian woman in the Senate. There are articles of it, where they say she's the first South Asian woman, and Tariq Nasheed, he actually has she was the first on whitehouse.gov. They have her, she said she was sworn in as the first woman, the first Black American, and the first South Asian American. But they have always said she was South Asian. From what I've seen, she was South Asian.
Yeah.
And Indian. But I think the thing is that nobody was denying, no one is upset or denying. You're upset if you're accepting your ancestry, which that's what you are. Yeah. I think if problem is that when you come up and you start lying and being fake about some things, and especially when your policies and how you said she went on the griot and said she wasn't going to do anything for black people.
For us.
If she said she was going to do something specifically for black people, I think more black people would be supportive of her.
Yeah. Truth be told, I would support her if Trump for that matter, if I felt that they sincerely were going to give us tangibles. You follow what I'm saying? They sincerely want to give us tangibles. And they were going to give us tangibles because at this point, that's what I look at. I'm not someone that is going to support you just because you're a Democrat or Republican. I'm looking at what is your what are you going to do for the Black American community? How is our vote going to improve the conditions of our group? Quid pro quo. If I give you my vote, how is that going to improve the condition of my people? Plain and simple.
Right.
But I'm trying to find it now. But there was an article that I read today that talked about this very issue, because from my understanding, there's a lot of Indian politicians right now that are very angry with Kamala Harris because she's been, denying her Indian heritage. And when she first got into politics, she actually didn't even call herself black. She called herself Indian. She was going by her full name, Kamala Devi. Is that her middle name, Devi? I believe it is. Debbie Harris. The article is called "Searching for the Real Kamala Harris." It's called "Searching for the Real Kamala Harris." It's by what's the guy's name? By Lee Fang. Lee Fang. And I think at the bottom, like maybe the last couple of paragraphs, that's where he actually talks about when Kamala Harris first got into politics. She was actually identifying herself as a South Asian Indian, and she was going by her full name. But it wasn't until she got into the Senate that she started calling herself Black. When she ran for the Senate, that's when she started calling herself Black. So she would speak one way when she was, among us, because I've seen videos of her, in front of Tavis Smiley and other. Oh God. Oh God.
Getting her
I guess those are the greens.
Get ready for New
that she
Year.
cooked in the bathtub. Those are the greens that she actually washed the bathtub. Those are the greens right there. Those are collard greens. Oh boy. Oh God. Oh God. Is that Luke? That's not Luke.
No, that's not Luke.
Oh.
Looked like him. That wasn't Luke.
Yeah, it looks like Luke.
No.
Oh God.
So I know how to make a mean pot of greens. In fact, people used to ask me to make greens for them for Christmas. One year, I had so many that I had to wash that we ended up washing them in the bathtub. So I am not playing around. So what you got, right, Marlon? So I know how to make a mean pot of greens. In fact, people used to ask me to make
My mom puts it in the sink.
Oh God. Kamala. If she don't cut the shit. I mean, you and I have been Black our entire lives. I'm sure your mom and your grandmama's making some greens. So is mine. Have you ever in your life seen your mother and your grandmother cook greens and wash them in a bathtub? I've talked to my friends about this.
No.
If there's somebody out there that's done that, I want to know about it. I've never seen my mom do that. Have you?
I've not, but I wouldn't want to eat it if they put it out of a bathtub.
Right? And this is a beautiful one.
Oh, Lord. Now, what is she saying right there? What is she talking about?
Oh, she was buying some jazz records.
So,
oh,
okay,
God.
do you know music?
Oh, God.
Okay. So, first of all, Charlie Mingus, really one of the greatest jazz performers ever. One of my favorite albums of all time. Roy Ayers, Everybody Loves Sunshine. You know this one? It's so good. It's a classic. And then Porgy and Bess, right?
Porgy and Bess.
Beautiful one. It's
Coming
Ella
down.
Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong.
Y'all know when she went back into
What'd you get? So, okay.
y'all know when she went back into that car when they got around the block and threw that shit out.
Charlie
Oh,
Mingus.
God. Well, well, she did go to Howard. For that one, I don't give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she does like that kind of music. But my thing is this: is that you and I can agree on this. She panders all the time.
Sure.
She thinks that with Black people, all you have to do is show up and show you like their music and I eat fried chicken and collard greens, and that will get them on my side.
Right.
It reminds me, of course, of another politician that did something similar to this back in the 90s.
Clinton did that.
Bill Clinton, absolutely.
No, and Hillary. Well, Bill went on when Bill went on Arsenio and did played the saxophone.
It said he liked fried chicken.
That's and that actually is what got a lot of Black people out to support him. They called him the first Black president.
Yeah. Toni Morrison gave him that title.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, he loves Aretha Franklin. Well, Paul Mooney even joked about it and told him that. Loves Aretha Franklin, hangs out with Black men and all of this stuff. Yeah. But Hillary had hot sauce in her purse.
And so did Kamala Harris. She's doing the same thing.
Kamala Harris's life.
this is the article. Let me just mute this for a
Okay.
second. Let me just play this because I gotta wrap it up, but in a second. But hold
And
on.
her mother, Shamla Gopalan, was also the biggest influence in Kamala Harris's life.
The answer is absolutely yes, Joe.
After the big announcement, Harris's sister wrote in a Twitter post, "You can't know who Kamala Harris is without knowing who our mother was." In 1958, a precocious 19-year-old Indian, Gopalan traveled thousands of miles from her home and family to pursue a doctorate in nutrition and endocrinology in America. She soon became an active civil rights crusader while studying at UC Berkeley.
Once she went there, she almost felt free. And she took part in politics. She used to bring a whole series of literature, leftist literature from Karl Popper's, he was a great philosopher.
In her book, Harris says, "There is no title or honor on earth I'll treasure more than to say I am Shamla Gopalan Harris's daughter." Harris's visits to India with her mother kept her connected to her roots. Her grandfather, who had strong views on humanitarian issues, worked closely with officials to reallocate refugees. Their conversations had a strong influence on her.
Those walks along the beach in India really planted something in my mind and created a commitment in me before I even realized it. That has led me to where I am today.
Harris's maternal uncle, Gopalan Balachandran, who lives in Delhi, tells us how the senator turns to her amma, which means mother in Tamil, for guidance even after her death.
I don't have to tell her, make your mother proud. She said, what are you telling me? Everything that I do, I ask myself, would Amma approve of this?
Kamla in Hindi means lotus flower and is an important symbol in Indian culture, rooted deep in the bottom of the river. Very similar to Harris's Indian identity, which she wears on her sleeve. There's no doubt that the primary source of learning for Senator Harris was from her mother's experiences and the conversations that she had with her maternal grandfather when she visited.
I'll stop it there. But yeah, she grew up, but her mom, her and her dad and her mother were divorced by the time she was a little girl. And yeah, she grew up surrounded her mother. So where do you think she got her guidance from? From her mom. Now, that's not to say she didn't have any connection with her dad. She probably did, but my understanding, I don't even think they're that close. But like talking about it. But what you got to say, bro? I'll let you have the last word.
What I was going to say was interesting is that in those pictures of her father, her dad looks Indian in those pictures.
Mm-hmm.
You know, her dad looks Indian. Her dad does not look like a black man in those pictures.
Yeah,
which is very interesting. You know, because I've seen other pictures where he looks more black, like the one they show of him holding her when she was a baby. But in the pictures they show on that, he actually looks more Indian. You know, so again, I'm not sure whether she's a black woman or not. I'm not sure. Based on what I know of her, I'm not sure whether she's a black woman or not. You know, because her father in those pictures he doesn't look black in those pictures. He looks Indian in those pictures. You can tell that he looks Indian, but other pictures the man looks black. So maybe what Judge Joe Brown, Judge Joe Brown, I don't think he would lie about anything like that, of course. But maybe what the man was saying might be true. Maybe he was one of those Indian Jamaicans. Maybe, maybe he was. But yeah, I agree with you. 100%. I mean, the really only connection she had to black people and black society, as documented, is her experience at Howard. And I only question who is it that actually inspired her to go to Howard, and why did she go to Howard? That's what I would like to know. Like, I read an article where she said she wanted to get in touch with her blackness, but I'm not really sure if even if that's even true, because like you talked about, she wasn't around her father, but it said that she might have been around some black people that her mother knew. Maybe that might give some insight to why she decided to attend Howard. But it does seem very unlikely that a woman who is a Brahmin Indian, who's a foreigner, is going to tell her daughter, to go to Howard. Would she even know what Howard University is back in the 1980s? Her dad would he know?
Well, look,
he might know, but
I'll just say this.
I'm just saying.
I think, it could be. I don't know exactly the reason why she went to Howard. If it could be a financial thing, like I said, a lot of people go there for that. And yeah, it could be she wanted to join her experiences. She pledged, AKA.
Yeah.
I'll just say this: they got a lot of white females that are AKAs and deltas. They had one a couple of years ago. There was one picture of this white delta who I ain't gonna say she was thick. She was good looking, and her photo went viral. And I could tell you a bunch of brothers probably were trying to jump in her DMs for that, but that doesn't mean. But my point is, the fact that you pledged Delta, the fact that you've went to HBCU, that doesn't mean that person is black. It just means they went to HBCU. The college and institute that's predominantly they have one HBCU, and HBCU enrollment, blacks enrollment has actually dropped now. It's actually like 75% of HBCUs are black. 60% of the faculty is black, with whites accounting for 30%, and Latinos and Asians making up 10% of the faculty. Let's not forget, this is just the faculty, but let's not forget also, like I go to Xavier. Well, I don't go to Xavier, excuse me. Xavier is here in New Orleans. Xavier was created by, and a lot of the HBCUs were created by whites. Howard is named after a white general. Xavier was created by a saint, Catherine Drexel. She founded Blessed Sacrament. And she purposefully used her monies to actually create Xavier to train Black and Native American students. But what happened, especially now in the 70s, when you had mass immigration come in, that even I think Coretta Scott King was opposed to that because of the impact it would have on the Black community. They actually had enrollment in Xavier. The pharmacy college at Xavier, which is the best in the country, most of their students are Asian. And I know because my brother went to school there when I was in high school. He went to school there. My father went to school there in the 70s. But yeah, when my brother went there with a lot of Asians, he had a few who were friends of his. They used to come over and study. So it's not uncommon that you see other people from other ethnic groups come in and join these colleges and universities. Now, that doesn't mean they necessarily support our cause either.
That's very, very true. I mean, me going to Morehouse, I have, especially during these last few years, when Black Americans particularly, when the more we've been delineating from other groups of people, you start seeing other folks feeling some sort of way about it. And there have been guys that I've known when I went to Morehouse who were not Black. They were Pakistani or they were Middle Eastern. They came out and waited all these years to tell us what they really thought about all of us. And and it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty at all. Like it was one guy that I've known him since when I went there. And he was on the train bashing Jonathan Owens, Simone Biles' husband. He was, bashing him. And, the dude came out and flat out said, with no, in so many words, I really don't care. I don't like none of you niggas. I don't want to, the only reason why I went to school in the first place was because I was trying to get an education without having to pay a bunch of money. And, that's done with now. So what you're saying is definitely is very, very true. And I think with this whole Kamala Harris business moving forward, Black people, if we create scholarships, especially for our institutions, HBCUs, I think we need to do a better job vetting who are the recipients of these scholarships. If they're supposed to be for Black American students, then it should be for Black American students. And we need to vet them better. That means start taking DNA tests, looking at their family history, see how long they've been claiming that they're Black on paper, all those kind of things. I think that actually is necessary. That way you won't have this problem, because it seems to be very prevalent in a lot of HBCUs that you got a lot of individuals that look like us, but they're not really us, going out here and getting benefits that are supposed to be for us. So
yeah, right. Like I said, and you can don't look like me, but if you were going to give tangibles, if you were going to represent me, yeah, a lot of people would support, I think, her. But look, we're going to wrap it up, but I do want to just ask what other projects you have coming up, Rashad, and where anybody could find you at.
Well, I'm actually starting a YouTube channel myself. I'm starting a film review channel. I'm going to start a film review channel called the Movie Insurrectionist. I haven't launched any videos yet, but it's going to be the black version of Cisco and Ebert is one part of it. Cisco and Ebert. So I don't want it, I don't want this particular channel to be as square as how they did it, but there's going to be serious film reviews where I talk about different educational elements in terms of budgeting, production, sound, and acting, and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, us as being black men, foundational black American men, is going to be from have our perspective, as well. I'm going to measure. Does this movie push racism, white supremacy to a certain extent, or is it trying to dismantle it? How do I view this movie from a technical standpoint versus entertainment standpoint? And it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So I have a whole entire series where I have a tribute to some of the people that died this year. That some of the legends, like for instance, Carl Weathers and Louis Gossett Jr. But then I'm also going to talk about certain classic movies that are turning 30 years old this year, like Pulp Fiction and others. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be on YouTube. It's called The Movie Insurrectionist. And I'm currently working just right now in development. I can't give you the name of it right now because it's in development of my next feature film too. So I'm working on that.
That's good. That's good. Y'all, great show. Yeah, thank you, Catalia. Danielle, we appreciate y'all. Look, if y'all love me for my time, pay me for my time. As y'all know, we're on a shadow ban, but you can actually donate to the channel at the links at the bottom of the Cash App, the PayPal or Zelle. It would be well appreciated. We got to support our brother Rashad so he can buy a light when he comes on. Because you're sitting
sorry about that, man.
You're looking like a villain in a Nintendo game, man. For real.
I feel like
I got family out in Houston. My in-laws live out there, so we definitely come out there. We're gonna link up, and we can talk game and do some stuff. I'm actually been meaning to play the comedy circuit out in Houston, so I would love if you could support. Come on out if I have a show or something.
Absolutely. Yeah, let me know.
Yeah. All right, y'all. This been this brother Rashad Humphrey, and I am G Rich Gavin Reshaw. Please drop something in the Cash App and support our brother. One of his movies that is 400 Will Kill You. That is on. Is that on Amazon still?
Yeah, it's Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Amazon Prime. Go to Amazon Prime. Look up Rashad Humphrey and check out that movie. It was pretty good. So
thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, my brother. Well, we'll be in touch, and yeah, we'll definitely be in touch in the near future. So everyone, be safe, and be blessed. And look, do your own research. Don't let everybody else who you vote for. Look, I can't tell people who to vote for because that's ultimately something you're going to do. I can say this much: presidents are selected before they're elected. Whoever becomes the president is not going to pay your rent. You gotta, and by that I mean we all gotta do for ourselves, regardless of if it's Kamala, if it's Trump, whatsoever. But do your research into both of these candidates. You can also look at the third party candidates, even though they say it's wasting a vote or writing in stuff. But it's about really having your voice heard, and if that's what you want, having your voice heard, fine. But don't be fooled. Don't go in there with. I'm just encourage people. Don't go in there with some sense when you go in to a ballot box, because voting is all a business. It's quid pro quo, and if you want to give something, you gotta put out something. So that's the way I look at it. But anyway, bro, I appreciate y'all. We've been on this platform for an hour and 45. We did pretty good, Rashad.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Be one, be safe, and be blessed. Yeah, and check out my Amazon page, ladies and gentlemen, as well. You can get the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby. All right. Be one and be safe, man. We got Monday coming up. I'm not looking forward to it because the work week is back. School is back for a lot of the kids, so we got to watch those school zones now. Damn it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Get it up
they're gonna be wild. Long summer.
It's still summer now, man. It's still summer and we got school. I wish, I really wish summer could be the kids could be out a little longer, but
Yeah,
some parents do not want that. All right.
absolutely. All right, take care, man.
Peace out, family. I got some work I'm gonna be doing in a minute, but be ones, be safe, and be blessed. I'll holla. Peace.